Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Dental Up Podcast, brought to you by Keating Dental Arts, a full-service, award-winning dental laboratory. Each week, you'll learn tips and techniques from real-world dentists, bringing you in-depth interviews, motivating stories, current events, and sports. Here's your host, Sean Keating.
Hey everyone, Sean here. Welcome to another episode of the Dental Up Podcast. Our guest this week is a graduate from the University of Minnesota School of Dentistry. He has lectured extensively in Michigan and across the country on various topics, including social media for dentists, medical marijuana, and addiction. He has written several articles for professional journals like the Journal of the Michigan Dental Association and is also one of the hosts on the Dental Hacks podcast. Practicing from Saginaw, Michigan, please welcome Dr. Alan Mead, DDS. How's it going, Dr. Mead?
Good. How you doing, Sean?
Oh, dude, it's an honor to have you on this podcast. I do these podcasts because of you.
I should apologize, right?
No, you should, because man, it's kind of a pain. And no, it's. I get it. I remember back like 2014, man, and you know, we've been together for a while, you know, doing work together, and
my gosh, yeah, since the early Dental Town days, really.
Absolutely. But dude, I just listened to you. See, I moved down to Dana Point, so I got about 30-40 minute drive each way. So these podcasts, okay. I started listening to you, and you just got a soothing voice that it's just weird, man. It's really a soothing, like you could tell me bedtime stories to go to bed. I mean, I listen to you in bed sometimes. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I go, "I'm just catching up on the daily hack, weekly hack, or you got one every day now or something." And it's like the short ones.
We have a lot of them. We're doing 2 days a week, our daily, and then we do the Fridays, the longer one. I don't know that my wife would actually agree with you about the soothing voice. I don't know. It's the one I got though, so I gotta use it, right?
No, it totally is. Like between your voice and J-Lips, J-Lips has kind of got that one voice. Like yours is like it's just a soothing voice, and it's weird. It's very comforting to listen to. I mean, I don't like some of the stuff. I've learned a lot. I know what I know, making teeth and all that. And I've worked with dentists for a long time, but I just learned a lot of different things on what you guys go through. And it goes over my head, a lot of it. Like the dude yesterday, I was listening to one where I forgot the guy's name, Ron something, or he was doing the sleep apnea stuff, and it was one of the most recent podcasts, I think. And
sure.
From Scottsdale, the dude, I think.
Yep. It's probably Jeff Rouse.
Rouse, yeah. That dude's a smart dude, man. He's throwing some words out there I freaking couldn't even understand. It's like, what the heck's this dude? And it's like,
he's amazing. We've had him on a bunch of times too, and like. Man, I've seen him speak a couple times, and we've talked with him a bunch of times. We've gotten to talk to a lot of the Spear guys, and they're really high level. It's fun, actually. I really like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
The podcast has allowed me to talk to a bunch of people that I wouldn't necessarily have gotten a chance to talk to. So it's pretty sweet that way.
Oh, absolutely. No. And I listened up that, but yeah, that one was really interesting, and that was a long one. And I don't find myself ever, let's not listen to it. It just kind of engages you. But just learning, he just has a good talk, a good bedside manner. I could tell with, you're diagnosing this, and it's a service, and he broke it down really neat, and it's just a very calming talk too with him and his voice. So it was very enjoyable. One of my better ones that I like them all for sure, but that's pretty cool. And
I was pretty proud of that one for sure.
Yeah, that's totally cool. And then I love when Jason gets in there. He's just got that dry wit about him, kind of is talking and
Oh yeah.
It's a neat dynamic.
So on Sunday morning, I recorded a brain trust, which is when we do the roundtable with a few guys you might know. I had Dr. Rich Rosenblatt, Dr. Frank Clayton, and Dr. Brent Young all on. We did a brain trust. That should be coming out on Friday.
I can't wait to hear that. Those guys, man, they're funny as heck. And That's just neat.
They're the
that
best.
As you guys all stick together like that. That's so cool.
from old Dental Town days, from back in the day, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Heck, I remember probably 10 years ago, you came out to one of my first, well, it wasn't one of my first, but it was a occlusion course with Dr. Milkers, and you brought your whole staff and all the girls, and we went out to eat afterwards, and just good times, man. And just, it's quite the story with you. I remember, because you were telling me about some of it, your stuff with the addictions and how you just hit it head on. And I was just sitting there and thinking to myself as I'm drinking a beer and just kind of thinking about it, go, man, this dude, he's got a good calmness to it. And we're all sitting there kind of getting hammered. And, but that's just weird how that works, and everything happens for a reason, I believe. But, I
think so too. I think some people can handle it too. That's the other thing. Some people can, some people can't. So there you go.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, dude, I always start off a little bit talking about sports. Did you happen to watch that game last night, that Monday Night Football game? I
didn't watch any. I have to tell you, I'm a fair weather fan of the Lions, and I will say that I think they beat who they beat on Sunday. It was by a point. It was they didn't deserve to win. They're not playing very well this year, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so I'm not even a fan. I'm more of a fair weather fan. But they won on Sunday, so that was kind of good.
Yeah, they did. And I think it was, God, who was it? The Raiders? Bears. You beat the Bears. Yeah.
And they were 6-3. Exactly. Yeah. They beat these teams that they have no business beating, and then they can't beat anyone else.
Well, you know what? And I think our next game is not till December 2nd. The Rams play the Detroit Lions. Okay. So that'll be
okay. Okay, yeah. I'm just curious. How long have the Rams been back in LA?
It's like 2 years now. Yeah, a little over 2 years.
2 years.
16, 17.
Are you enjoying having them in LA again?
Oh, dude, it's so. I mean, I'm not going to their games. Coliseum, it's a nightmare to get there and to sit in those cement seats. But I'm going to get tickets for the new stadium that they're building. But it's a whole. It was 20 years we've been without it, and I'm a football knucklehead, and I tell you, and they kind of sucked the first year. They're like a couple of wins and a bunch of losses, and now we got this new young coach, and it's just exciting to watch them. And like in the history of the NFL, no teams have scored over 50 points each, and the game went down like to the last series, and we won 54-51, and it's the highest scoring game ever in the NFL. And like they had it's Mahomes kid from Mahoney's, I think is his name, is 23-year-old quarterback. His dad was a Major League Baseball player, and just a great, kind of reminds you of like a Steph Curry type dude. And he's just so exciting, lights out. And then we got Jared Goff, and it's all a bunch of 20-year-olds in this new NFL, and it's just kind of sparking life into it. But it's kind of exciting to watch, where it's very offensive and lots of scoring. It's whatever they got to do, they got to keep it that way, because it just brings more excitement to the game. But what a game last night! It was like,
that's cool.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. And we have all these fires in the last few weeks down here in LA and Northern California. And so they gave most of all the tickets away, because it was like 5 days they had to get everyone there, because it was supposed to be in Mexico City, and Mexico City had Shakira on the field and a couple other shows that they had, and they ripped up the field, so they had to cancel the Mexico thing, and in the last minute brought it all the way down to LA and just invited all these first responders, and it was just really a neat tearjerker thing.
I did not realize. That's awesome.
Yeah. So last minute, and I'm actually going to do a podcast with Dr. Ellaway. You probably know him. He's been in Dental Town, Timothy Ellaway, and he's in Paradise, and his practice, it survived, but everything burnt around it. And he's just, is devastated. He has to get a place down in Chico and to rent a little place for the interim, because he can't go into the town. Everything's burnt around it, and so they're not going to let him in for a while. But what a story there with the fires, man, and all that.
My God. It's hard to even know. It's honestly, I think they're still trying to figure out, they haven't even found all the bodies.
No, it's like 1,000 people missing, dude. 1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of people. Man, it's like they're not going to pop out and walk out of the smoke right now.
No. You only hope that they just didn't tell anyone where they were going. That's the only hope, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Dr. Ellaway was telling me something, how they seen a neighbor at the end of the street where everything was on fire, and they were leaving, and they could see their neighbors leaving in their car, but then they seen the whole rear of and the whole thing catching fire, and it just engulfed it, and it's just, they're gone. And it's just him and his wife they're coming down to stay with in-laws down in Long Beach. So they're going to come by the lab today, and then tomorrow we got a bunch of cases cases we're going to give them and help them out. But man, what a sad thing. And so,
oh my gosh, that's awful.
Yeah. So thoughts and prayers to all of them for sure. So
yeah, definitely.
Well, I know we're short here. We're going to talk about the voices of dentistry, but let me get a little bit about your background real quick, because I always start off and ask, why did you get into dentistry, and at what point did you think I want to be a dentist?
I've always wanted to be a dentist. I literally remember seeing like when you had to do poems when you were like third or fourth grade. And I was talking about being a dentist even then, because my dad's a dentist. And so I grew up in a dental office essentially.
No kidding.
And I mowed the lawn there when I was like 12, 11, 12. I started, like literally worked there all through high school and everything. I just grew up in a dental office, and Dad seemed to like it. I never realized that it was, like, I didn't realize that, I didn't think about it being healthcare. I didn't think about it being, potential high income. I just know that Dad liked being a dentist, and so I kind of always thought that. And then actually in college, I was sort of I switched to vet school. The idea for vet school for like a year and a half.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I don't know if it was a rebellion thing against my dad or what, but so I went and worked for 2 weeks in North Carolina. My uncle was actually, he's a manager of like a bunch of pig farms, like those big industrial pig farms. And so for 2 weeks, I went and kind of shadowed him in a large animal vet. And by the time I was done in North Carolina, I knew that I was ready. I was ready to be a dentist, and I was not going to be a veterinarian. So that was kind of I had taken, it's great. I had taken the DAT when I was pretty sure I was going to be a veterinarian. I was like, man, I can't believe I signed up for this stupid test. And now I'm not even going to need it. So I went in there with no care at all. Like, I was like, whatever, I just got to take this. And I did really well in the test because I wasn't nervous about it at all. It worked out really well. It worked out really well, actually. So I kind of always had been planning on being a dentist. So that's what sort of ended up with me.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I know your dad's a dentist, and that's so cool that you did that. What God, and you got like horses, and I saw you still got that vet in you, kind of, because I mean you got your own like zoo at home, don't you? Tell me a little bit about your house and what you got going there.
Yeah, we live on 40 acres. It's a horse farm, and if it had just been me, I wouldn't have probably chosen to do that. But my wife is a horse fanatic, so so we have anywhere between. We own 4 horses, and then we also have a miniature donkey, and then we actually we also have 4 goats. We literally just got another adopted goat like yesterday. So we have a bunch of critters, and we have one dog right now. But we board. We have a boarding farm too, so we board probably 10 horses. Most mornings and most evenings, I'm feeding on some level. The one thing about having a boarding horse farm is they continue to want to eat whether you feel like feeding them or not. So it's a lot of work, but it's fun. I mean, my wife and I kind of share the work. We honestly need an employee, but the work is hard enough and nasty enough that it's not an easy sell. But the reality is we've been doing it for so long. It's just sort of part of our DNA at this point.
No kidding. Now, did you say 4 acres or 40?
40 acres. We got about
that's a lot of land.
Yeah, 8. Well, I know. Talking to someone from California, 40 acres is incomprehensible. But
exactly.
Out here in Central Michigan, what we paid for our entire spread, I guarantee you couldn't buy a 2-bedroom home for where you are. So, the cost of living here is a little different than what you guys are used to. I'm just going to say that.
I think our whole town's 5 acres. No, 5 miles.
I know. It's crazy. It really is crazy. So we have about 8 acres cleared.
Oh, you're kidding.
We have I think five barns, an indoor riding ring. We have it's a spread. What's really funny is we bought the place kind of having the person we bought it from had built it out like this. And so we didn't design it, but it's a great place for what we do for it. We've added some buildings and stuff, but it's pretty cool. It's a different lifestyle for sure.
Unbelievable. Dude, my hat's off to you, man, to have that. And what about the vet services on that? I remember watching Pet Detective, man. There's some crazy stuff going on with those pets. Who does that for y'all? The wife and you, or you get some guy
we have a vet. We have multiple people use different vets. It's funny how it is because like vets, large animal vets get paid pretty well, but they also get paid on the per call because they have to bring the office with them. So you've got to. So the trick is to get everyone who uses that vet all ready to go, and for checkups or vaccinations or whatever else there is. Get them ready for that day, so you pay one farm fee, like one farm stop fee, and get the whole job done when you're there. And so you can make it a little bit more cost effective just by kind of sharing the burden of that farm fee. Because of course, there actually is a place nearby us where they have, if you need surgery or whatever, they have a surgical center, but their whole model is based on going out to farms and taking care of it. So it's expensive, but it's less than you would expect, as long as, much like dentistry, if you're taking care, a lot of times you can avoid kind of the more expensive things. Of course, horses have two main problems. It's their feet and their guts, their stomachs, their digestive system and their feet. Pretty much everything else is almost bulletproof on a horse.
Really? What about I always get scared, like my sister has some horses and stuff for a while, but feeding them and those big old teeth, do you ever get bitten by those things, man? I always worry they're going to bite your freaking hand off.
Okay, so we have a couple. We have one border that is a relatively aggressive horse. You have to keep in mind that they can bite. And what's crazy is, their jaws are super long. You don't think of them, and the way that their chewing muscles are set up, their muscles are way forward, so they can't open very wide, but they can close really, really hard. And so if I've gotten bitten one time, the horse got me real good, but it was through it was winter, so I had like a big thermal. I had a big coat on and a flannel shirt and all this stuff, and still got me pretty good. I had a bruise, but didn't break the skin. But we've seen, they can bite you really badly, but they can't open very wide. So they usually just get a little piece of you if they bite you. But yeah, it's something to be aware of. Every horse can. Even the horses that are super tame can do things unintentionally.
Or what about like I know a mule kick, but a horse kicks back. What about that? Yep. You don't ever walk. I always worry about walking behind a man. Yep. Can you imagine getting nailed that's got to drop you freaking quick.
Oh, you could get really hurt. And we make a point of teaching everyone to give them room. We had a bunch of Cub Scouts come out a couple of weeks ago. Okay. And of course they're all excited to see horses and stuff, and a lot of them are not real aware. So you have to be extra careful. But the trick too is to have work with horses, especially with little kids around, that are we have a couple really bomb-proof horses that really are great with little kids, and they're very predictable, because we actually have a special needs riding program that does their program at our place. So on Wednesday nights in the fall and in the spring, they'll have 2 sessions a night. They're here for 3-4 hours, and they actually have a bunch of special needs kids come out and they do it in our arena. So it's pretty cool. We have a bunch of horses that are quite good with people.
Oh, that's so cool. I'd love that. I remember going horseback riding as a kid. We'd look so forward to that, and just it was kind of on a trail. A guy would lead you, and then you got to go with the rhythm, man. You can't go where that horse going up and you're going down, and then you crush your nutsack real quick on a horse.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Tell me about it.
I remember.
I've been thrown a couple times too. That's the other thing. I haven't ridden for a while. I've been thrown a couple times, and that'll knock the wind out of you.
Oh, I bet. Good Lord help us. That's neat though. Well, that's so cool. Well, hey, tell me a little bit about real quick on the college. Now, you went to Miami, huh? You went down Is that where you found
Miami of Ohio.
Oh, Miami, Ohio. Okay.
Yep, Miami of Ohio. So it's outside of Cincinnati. Okay. It's actually the original Miami. The Miami, Florida was actually named after the Miami River Valley. So this was Miami of Ohio has been there for it's a state school. I have no regrets. It was a great choice for me. At the time, I didn't know how good of a choice it was. I marched in the marching band for 4 years. Yeah. So I saw a lot of football. It was fun. It was great. We used to they would take us for 3 of the 4 years I was there. The Buffalo Bills, back when the Buffalo Bills were playing in Super Bowls and losing.
Yeah, 4 in a row.
Super Bowl and lose. Exactly. So we were their good luck charm. We were always their opening day. They would bring the Miami Marching Band to play their halftime show. So they would literally pay for us to go all the way from outside of Cincinnati to Buffalo to march. It was a blast. I mean, it was really fun to march at NFL games, and the Bills had a soft spot for Miami. So it was very cool.
Oh, that's so awesome, dude. What did you and the marching band? Did you have an instrument, or how's that work?
Yeah. I played saxophone all through high school and then college. So I marched with the saxophone, and it was probably one of the I didn't know. You don't know these things, but as I look back, it was one of the best things I ever could have done. I liked marching band because all my friends were in it in high school, but in college it's such a different level. It was so great. And Miami has a terrific marching band. And of course, they're always overshadowed by the fact that Ohio State State has probably the best marching band anywhere, but Miami's right up there. They're very good. We had a great time. I loved it, and to this day, I look back. It's so funny when I have dreams. If I dream about my past or anything like that, I still have marching band dreams. Maybe more so even than dental school dreams. I don't know exactly what that's about.
That's so neat.
But marching band was a huge thing for me. So and I would recommend. I got my 11-year-old who just started playing the baritone. And we got a chance to see one of the high schools in town rehearse to go to a semifinals game a couple days ago. And oh my gosh, he was enthralled. So I'm excited. He may well be doing the same thing. So
no kidding. That's so cool, dude. And a sax, man, that's like Kenny G, man. You'd be smooth. You still played a little bit or no?
I haven't really played for a while. I've been threatening, now that Sean is playing the baritone, I've been threatening to get a horn and play again. I probably should, because again, it's one of these things where I didn't realize what a huge influence it was on my entire life. It was such a positive thing for me. There are times when I'm sure I complained about it, but it really was. It was a big deal when I was growing up. Like, that's what I did. I was a saxophone player, and I was always in the band. So it was, I sort of abandoned it, and I look back and I think maybe I should pick it up again, because
you should play with that a little bit at night.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it would be a good time. I don't know. I'm wondering what the horses would think of it too. They may or may not be into that. I'm not sure.
I still think of Bart Simpson's sister always playing the sax, or
that's right.
Or the dude in East Street Band. That sax player, that guy was
Clarence Clements. Sure, Clarence Clements.
Exactly. I can see you doing it, dude. I mean, that's like riding a bike. I bet you get right back on that horse.
I totally should. I'll let you know.
Or Bill Clinton. We don't want to talk about him. Remember Clinton?
There you go.
No, hey, so tell me a little bit about your practice. What do you got going? How many staff you got? How many ops? Tell me a little bit about your practice if you could.
I have a relatively small practice. We have 4 ops, 5 plumb, but we work out of 4, 2 hygiene ops and 2 for me. I have 2 assistants, 2 hygienists, and a front desk. And actually, one of the assistants is sort of floats between front desk and assisting. So it's a kind of a smallish practice. I like it that way, to be honest. We do a lot of bread and butter stuff. I do a little bit of endo, a lot of crown and bridge, a lot of fillings. I love direct restorations. Everyone who listens to the podcast, I'm kind of a sucker for that. Although I do use a scanner. I have a 3M scanner. I really like that. I found that to be a really good thing. I know that that's kind of where everything's going. Yep. But and so I do a little, like I said, I do a little bit of endo. I do some surgery. I've placed some implants. Don't really love doing that. Don't have a ton of confidence, but we do a fair amount of implants with our surgeons and our periodontists and stuff around here. So it's a bread and butter practice.
No, but you guys are crushing it, and you've had your staff with you forever, and just real top notch office, top staff, and you guys are always happy. And one thing about you, dude, you've always just been an upbeat. I don't think I've ever seen you mad, man, ever. I mean, it's just, you got a good disposition.
I have my moments. But I will say that being a recovering person, I sort of have so I was in treatment in 2002 for 4 months. I had a real problem with drugs and alcohol. And so one of the things that I feel like regular people get kind of shafted on this deal, 4 months where I got to learn how to take a look at myself and how to deal with emotions. I think a lot of people right now don't really know how to deal with emotions. Exactly. They've got really bad mechanisms of coping that they've had for a long time, and just because they've gotten them this far, they haven't had a chance to really look at it. So part of the reason that I really benefited from that is I had time to really learn kind of what emotions are and how to help deal with them. And I will say, what a lot of people know of me is post that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like my Dental Town days, the podcasting, I've been in solid recovery, and so I have a chance to. I just learned some tools, I guess, is what I'm saying. That's the benefit. So am I always happy? No, but I actually I think I'm more resilient, and I bounce back from emotional stuff way better than most. And I think I owe that all to the fact that I was in treatment, to be honest.
You really are. I mean, it's almost like you're a psychiatrist. I mean, you really just have a way about you, and you found that inner peace. And I think a lot of people look for it, and as we get older, we get a little wiser, and we think a little bit more with our heads. At least I am. And it's just the stuff we worried about before in life. It's like so minimal, and you can, like it said, you can make it a great day. I mean, you can. It's just
we can. It generally is a choice, and a lot of, I'm not going to say every day I make that choice, but you can kind of turn things around. The other thing is that you have to look hard at what you need. I think in dentistry it's tough. But I graduated early enough where I'm sort of in a golden age position where I didn't have to go into so much debt to go into school. And so I don't feel a lot of the pressures that some of the younger dentists do financially in that way. But like, I don't need as much as I think a lot of folks maybe think they need. And that helps, having a smaller practice works great for that because I don't have to have that much stuff. Part of it is just, I don't know that, happiness is something you sort of create for yourself. And it's great to have financial ability. It's great. Don't get me wrong. But I think in some cases I think a lot of people don't really understand where, I don't know, happiness is more important to me than having the biggest practice in the world or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's so true. And it is, they say how money can't buy happiness, and there's so much more to it. And, it's just the pursuit of happiness. Everyone's trying to find it, and, and it's just something you're going to go down that journey. And I just love listening to your voice and, hearing you. You're always positive, and it's always been a great thing to listen to. And your podcast, tell me a little bit of how and why you started a podcast. And it's like the number one dental podcast out there. And I got a lot of, options to listen to a lot of different podcasts, and yours is right up front, and just a couple others, and it's not even in dental, but
it's weird because I listened to podcasts early on. Like in 2006, I was listening to podcasts. This was way before I had the iPhones didn't even exist, and I had like an MP3 player early on. And you know what I used to do? I was one of the charter members of audible.com. I mean, I was on Audible before anyone even knew about it. So I listened to audiobooks all the time. And I had this commute since 1998. That was 40 minutes one way, twice a day. So I got to fill my time with something, and music can only go so far. So I listened to audiobooks. And then these podcasts came along. The first couple podcasts I listened to, one of them was called The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, which actually is still going. It's kind of a scientific skepticism. It's pretty good podcast. And they had that round table kind of, they would always have like 5 kind of co-hosts on at the same time. And so that was one of the styles that I listened to a lot. Another one was called Mugglecast, which is really funny. It was it was basically a bunch of high school kids that had done this round table on Harry Potter. It was really good. It was really good. That's when all the Harry Potter books were coming out and everything. So I was reading the Harry Potter books. Well, I never thought at the time. I mean, you can imagine if I got in at 2006, how I never thought about doing anything like that. I never thought about being someone who would actually create these things. But after a while, by the time 2012, 2013 came around, I was on a couple other people's podcasts. I was on Jason Luchtefeld and Grant Ritchie were doing one together. I was on his, I was on theirs, and then I was on Bilal Saib's, and I realized, I could do this. I could definitely do this. So then, and I had run into Jason. Actually, he had been lecturing a lot on social media and that sort of thing. And I was doing a lecture for Michigan Dental Association, and I was doing pretty well, but like with some of the Google local stuff, I just wasn't really familiar with it. And we'd met on Facebook a while ago, and I was just asking him about it. He gave me a bunch of stuff to use for my lecture, and so we were friendly for a long time. And I finally bugged him into the idea of starting the podcast, because there weren't really a lot of dental podcasts out there at the time.
Exactly.
And so we took a course together. We actually took a course. Jason Smithson was giving a course in Chicago at Cosmonet. And we took a course together, and basically I finally pestered him into starting it after that. So we started, our first episode went out, I think, in June 2014. And we had recorded in May 2014, and we didn't really have any expectation. We just put it out there, and it took off pretty quickly. It didn't take too long. And I think the trick is we were there at the right time. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty early on the dental podcast thing, and I think that helped.
And you guys got a huge Dental Hack Nation. I mean, it's just it's a neat thing, and you kind of got pricing, and it's a neat thing. I see it. I mean, I'm pretty new to Facebook and all that. And speaking about Jason, your partner there, Jason helped us back in 2010 with all our social media, and he came out to the lab, and he had some other guys, and I was doing a keynote speech in Chicago at Cal Lab, and he helped put together this video, and it was the most interesting dental technician in the world, and he did all this stuff, and it's so crazy, and that went off so great, and he's just a sharp dude. I mean, real smart dude, and he was ahead of the time with the whole social media stuff, and I just hats off to both you guys. think it's meant to be.
He's the ultimate idea guy. He and like the two guys I think of in dentistry that have always been big idea guys would be him and Howard Ferran. Those two guys they've got stuff flying out of their head constantly. It's just almost amazing to be around them.
That's so cool. No, that's true. That's so awesome, dude. So tell me about your big baby that you're nurturing, and it's called Voices of Dentistry. And I think you're on your second or third year now, or is this going to be?
This is our third year. Our third year. It's coming up January 25th and 26th. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona, again at the DoubleTree Resort. The hosts are Jason and I, and then Dr. Mark Costas, who does the Dentalpreneur podcast, and Dr. Justin Moody, who does dentist implants and worms. So we're all podcasters. And what it is we do have a CE program where we have presenters. It's really cool. This year we're doing primarily like sort of TED Talk. So it's very shorter. It's 20, 30-minute presentations, and they're kind of rapid fire, which is cool. We've not done that before. That's kind of exciting. A little scary because, as you know, speakers like to go over and take their time. We're not letting anyone do that this time. It's going to be rapid fire. It's going to be fun as hell, actually. So they have to bring their A game, right? They have to bring their good stuff.
Yep.
But it's a lot of podcasters or a lot of people that have just been in the podcasting space.
Okay.
A few of them are people we've had on the show multiple times that have been kind of our favorites. But also we have, this is so cool, we have what we call the Podcast Lounge, which is basically all of the exhibitors and sponsors are in this big room, and kind of in the middle of it is a bunch of tables, like high top tables, and all the podcasters are in there creating podcasts throughout the breaks and during the show. And so the exhibitors get more access just to people because they're all around where all the podcasts are being made.
Perfect.
Like we had last year we had a reception on Friday, and like no one left. They all stayed for everything. It was crazy. It was really cool because it's fun. You can jump on and be on podcasts, or you can listen to podcasts being created. And this year we're switching out too. We used to have two stages where we were doing, like two different presentations at a time. We didn't do that this time. The second stage, which was it's in Arizona, so it's in a tent. The joke was it was in the tent, but it's like in one of those giant tents that they do for wedding receptions and stuff like that. You can do that in Arizona. You can't really do that in Michigan. You can do that in Arizona. But so that stage, there's a stage out there, and that's going to be the live podcast stage. So during the breaks where we don't have speakers going on the main stage, a bunch of the podcasters, some of them that may not have been presenting in the main show, but are going to have a chance to present live at this. It's gonna be so cool. It's the most interesting and innovative meeting you've ever been to. It's totally different. So it's a very good time.
We're excited. We went to it last year, and it was just a great thing, and we're gonna do it again this year. But right now we have a little sound bite we can put on and let you hear about that.
Don't miss the biggest dental podcast event of the year, the Voices of Dentistry Podcast Summit at the DoubleTree Resort in Scottsdale, Arizona. Join us January 25th and 26th and earn up to 16 CE credits over 2 days. It's your chance to experience some of the most popular speakers in the dental industry and meet your favorite dental podcasters. It's all hosted by Drs. Alan Mead, Jason Lipscomb, Mark Costas, and Justin Moody. Find out more and register today at voicesofdentistry.com.
Nice.
Boom. No, so we're excited about it for sure. Me and Shannon are going to try to get out if we can. I know a couple of my guys are going to be out there for sure, and we'll give away some T-shirts, some Dental Up T-shirts. Have to get probably a couple hundred. Bring, huh?
Yeah, really.
How many people you think are going to be showing up this year?
Well, we had over 200 last year. We're hoping for 300 this year. We'll see.
Beautiful. Now it's so exciting, and it's so close for us here in California. But we'll shoot this out to a lot of our doctors too, and we'd love to get a bunch of people out there for sure. And it's a beautiful little hotel, little Hilton hotel. Prices of the rooms are real reasonable, and yeah, it's a neat place to be.
If anyone's looking for more information, it's voicesofdentistry.com is the website. You can sign up. You can see who's going to be there. So the speaker lineup is second to none.
That's so cool. Yeah, it is. And there's a lot to be and 16 CE credits, which is pretty huge. That's pretty neat, man, for sure. Well, that's so cool. I know you're lunchtime here. What else we got here? What about driving practice people to your practice? What do you do there? A lot of social media? Are you doing any mailers? How do you doing that?
I'm horrible. I honestly, I mean, I write my own website. I've been writing the blog forever, but I haven't, since the podcast started, I've really not been writing as much. We do quite well with reviews. We're in an area that's small enough that it's not super competitive. So I don't have to, my marketing budget is next to nothing. So it's mostly word of mouth and the website and reviews, that sort of thing. So and we do some Facebook stuff too. So it's so great. Cool. We're happy with it.
I think you're busier than ever with your podcast and everything, but I think your practice is booming more best that ever has. So, I mean, I think
we're doing okay. Yep.
I think the best of both worlds are with you, man. Dr. Alan Mead, man, thank you so much. I just can't thank you enough. I'd love to do a podcast in the future a little longer just to hear about you more and about your practice and all that. But, dude, hey, thank you for what you're doing for the dental industry. You really are bringing a lot of doctors together, and you're helping them and teaching and putting things out there that a lot of people didn't realize. And it's I think it's just a real neat thing that you're doing for the whole industry. And I even heard you had a lab Voices from the Bench. That was a funny one. I listened to that on you. Yeah. And those guys that's cool. I mean, I know mine just kind of working with dentists. When we started this, I had Dr. Hornbrook as my clinical director, and I said, hey, Dr. Mead's doing this. I want to do one. So he was with me for like a year and a half and did it. And then he left, and, I said, well, heck, I guess I'll just do it. But I just kind of talked to my dentist, and it's a neat thing. Thank you so much for giving me, the idea to do what I'm doing, and for all the years of the work and the support, whatever I can ever do for you, your family. God bless you guys. And I just can't thank you enough, man.
You bet. Glad to do it. You can come out and feed the horses for me sometime, Sean.
I'm there, baby. Thanks so much, Dr. Mead. It's great talking to you, and I'll see you here. I'll see you in a couple weeks out in Arizona, Scottsdale, to the Voices of Dentistry, led by Alan Mead. You're the man,
dude.
All
right. Thanks a lot.
All right, dude. Thank you so much, Dr. Mead. I'll talk to you real soon.
Yep. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Dental Up Podcast Show this week. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or search the Dental Up Podcast on iTunes for our weekly feed. Don't forget to visit KeatingDentalArts.com/promo for exclusive offers. Keating Dental Arts is a full-service dental laboratory, and we're nationwide. We'd love for you to send us a case so we can show you the Keating difference. If you dig what you heard, please leave a review on iTunes, and we'll be back next week.